welcome back to kind of like the second part of Ghost Recon Breakpoint. The thing that I wanted to talk about is I was wrong, but I think I was also right, okay? So as you saw on my previous video, when we did the kind of like a benchmark thing, you saw that setting the game up on Ultra and Ultimate gave us like 9 frames per second, okay? So that got me thinking. I've been playing this game for quite some time, and I was playing it on high, first of all, and I never got like 9 or 12 frames per second. I've tried to play it on Ultra, but I usually got more, so I was like thinking, what could be the issue? Now the thing is, there's a couple of things that happened before I did this benchmark. First of all, I updated my Windows to Windows 10 2004 version, and I updated my graphics card driver, and I basically optimized my hard drive. Now all these three things happened after I made this benchmark, and surprisingly enough, it made a difference because of one of those things. And I know it's not a graphics driver because I had to uninstall it so I could actually run a decent benchmark on Ghost Recon Wildlands, because with the new graphics driver it was crashing the game. So I don't know, either it was the Windows update or not enough space on my hard drive that actually made the game run so bad, or maybe it was the actual Windows update going on in a background taking up resources. So what I'm gonna do now, we're gonna select the ultra quality, run a benchmark, see how it looks. We're gonna then select ultimate, run a benchmark, see how it looks, and we're gonna do a little playthrough with both of the ultra and ultimate settings. So let me just select settings, let's go for video. So the ones that I'm currently set up is basically medium with a lot of unnecessary things disabled, in my opinion. Kinda lets us not hit over 4 gigs of VRAM. So let's just hit up that preset to ultra. Apply is gonna ask us to go out in the menu, which is fine. Yeah, game reload, which is a bit annoying, but hey. So I'm not gonna edit this video at all, just for it to be more consistent. So nobody can say, hey, you know what, you're cutting between the clips. Yeah, this is not true. No, this is legit. I am not biased, nobody pays me, I'm not sponsored by anyone. So there's no need for me to make up things when it comes to gaming and old hardware. I am running old hardware. This channel is literally about running games on old hardware, so I'm not gonna change that to just tell someone, you know what, dish out some money for things that will basically not meet your expectations. Okay, so we are on Ultra. We are hitting already 6.5 gigs out of 4. So let's just do the bench. And then we'll do some real world gaming. The reason why is because I do not generally trust benchmarks, like synthetic ones. Every single synthetic benchmark I've run in my life, it shows the results above the actual gameplay, like the actual game performance, and it is kind of for exactly people with older hardware who's gonna go on YouTube and see someone's video about benchmark. They will go, oh, this game, I can run this game on, let's say, 35, 40, 50 FPS, right? And they're gonna buy the game and they will not get this 30, 40, 50 FPS. They will probably get about 25. And I don't know, maybe it's a common thing for people to RMA their games and just refund them. But I do believe there's a law for how long you can play the game before you refund it. So if you try to get your frames up and you're thinking something is wrong somewhere, you're gonna spend this grace period and you're basically gonna be stuck up with a game you cannot play. So as we can see, so this benchmark actually goes about like 35 up to 40. We haven't dipped to low 30s yet. I'm kind of waiting for it, so let's just see how this goes.
Let's take care of business, boys.
I must say the results are really interesting when it comes to this part. And I was kind of expecting this, right? First of all, the graphics card we have is a 980 G1, the king of graphics cards back in the day, and it still holds its own against the other competitive cards, which are much newer. Now the only problem with this card is it does not have more memory. Of course we do have 980 Ti, which I do believe is rocking like what, 6 gigs of memory, which is still not enough, as in more modern titles we need, when you max out the textures, you need at least 8 gigs. We have 1070 with 8 gigs, so you have 1080 with 11 gigs or even 12. And I mean, this is the thing, right? When it comes to all the new hardware, yes, you can have all the VRAM in the world, but essentially you're just loading up textures from it. So if your RAM is good enough, if your hard drive is good enough, if your video driver is good enough, the GPU will be swapping textures from short-term memory anyway, because there's not enough place to store it. It will give you performance issues because there's no more cache for GPU to store the shaders and all the units and everything, so it needs to kind of hot swap it if you move very fast, and it will definitely not going to be optimal. And if you're rocking way too high settings, that's where the issues start. In my case, I would suggest people to play this game on medium with some things off. You can turn some things up on high. The reason being, these games like the Ubisoft Ghost Recon series, apart from well, Wildlands is actually not a good example. They are not really that well optimized, and people with much higher end cards are actually getting frame drops. So let's see what we have. So we have total score B 41 frames per second, right? This is not bad. Now we have to remember that we are already way overhead with required GPU memory, right? So let's do, as I said, we're just gonna play a bit with the same setting, ultra setting. Let's run around, and I'm just gonna put on the FPS counters, like the built-in tool in the game, to see how the CPU is working, how the frames are going and stuff like that. It's kind of nice tool for troubleshooting and debugging. I do believe it's actually still stuck in a game from the early development days, because this game is sometimes really buggy. It lags really bad. Now when it comes to certain requirements for this game, when it came out, I was surprised. Okay, I had a beta access to this game before it came out. I played it a bit and it was crap. It was running like crap. Low, medium, high didn't even matter at all. So there we are. So the frames we're getting about is like 40ish, CPU usage 55% and GPU is 98. So let's give it a go. So as you can see, this is absolutely fine. We are playing on this high setting, which is the ultra setting, with close to 40ish FPS. I mean, of course it's gonna drop. There's no questions about it. But the thing is, it's not lagging. This is kind of like a console experience, I would say. It's not really as fluid as 60 plus FPS. Definitely not. But the game is not stuttering. It's not like hitching up, for now at least, right? So there are some areas underground. If you go, doesn't matter what you have, you're gonna have frame drops. And a lot of people have reported that, and hey, it is an open world. The company, well, basically the Ubisoft knows that it's an open world, and they need to kind of make this engine to realize if you're traveling in a straight line that stuff like that will happen anyway, right? Okay, maybe we're gonna get killed by that stuff. I really don't like this goddamn drone that calls up wolves. We could take them on, but that's gonna impact my video. So the point being, I'm kind of tempted to shoot it down though. I'm kind of tempted to shoot it down, to be honest. There you go. For those who didn't know, you can shoot it down. I was just too lazy to do it to begin with. So the point is, this game runs on this hardware. Oh god, please no. Whoa, that was a matrix charge right there. Come on. Did I hit you? Oh. That's an interesting improvement. I don't believe the bullets were actually going through the trees the last time I played this game, and it's been a while. It's definitely been a while. Anyway, back to a task at hand. This is on ultra settings. So what you're gonna do, you're gonna log out, obviously. We're gonna set it up on ultimate, like everything maxed out fully. We're gonna run a benchmark and then we're gonna play a game again. And the reason I'm doing this is because my previous video, when setting up these ultra and ultimate settings, we are getting 9 frames and 12 frames, and that is not a correct representation of what is going on and what this GPU and CPU is actually able to handle. And I'm still at loss what exactly happened, why we actually got this. I do believe there was something just going on in the background, hogging up the resources. Could be the CPU, no, or something else. I have no idea. I honestly have no idea what could have been this, but that's how it went. That's how it went down. So I was wrong, but I was also right at some degree, because as we can see, my hardware has not changed. We'll do this ultimate benchmark. You'll see that my PC stats are right there. There's not like suddenly a 2080 Ti and I'm just like, hey, I can get about 30 frames on ultra, right? Because my CPU is bottlenecking everything. That's not the case. Okay, so we're back in. Let's check some things. Okay, so everything is on ultimate. Fog, background blur. Well, the preset is ultimate. I don't know. You know what? Let's enable this. Let's enable this. Oh god damn it! Let's run the benchmark. It is a bit annoying that it wants you to kind of like reload the game from the main screen. Luckily, it doesn't ask you to restart the game, just to apply the new textures. I mean, technically, it should be just a script telling pull images from this data pile. Simple as, like high-res textures. Enable these features while the loading screen is going on. That could have easily been applied. There's no need for you to just go back. It's kind of like a lazy way of making that. There is some games, quite a few of them, where you can just change the graphics on the fly if you feel that something is not enough or good. But hey. Okay, so we're full HD. Everything's on ultimate. Let's run the bench. So before that we were getting about 40-ish at this section alone with the cars, and now we're actually hitting like 30, so low 30s. And this is the funny part, right? So we're technically running the higher requirements for quality. As you can see, the frames, for now at least, are pretty similar to the ones we got before, and this is why I don't like synthetic benchmarks.
Let's take care of it.
We're just, if I would do this bench right after, we would get a different result again, because this is how it works. All of this is pre-scripted. This is a script running. We know where we're going. We have GPU has its schedule. It knows what tasks it needs to do in advance, right? So the more you're gonna do the same bench, the better your GPU will perform. I'm not saying a lot, but I would say you can actually see up to like 5 frames per second increase or improvement depending on how often you run it. So that was a really nice texture glitch. That was really nice texture glitch when the GPU was trying to understand what shades need to be loaded up, what textures. Okay, so with 29, this is kind of expected. Do remember we're still hitting above 6.5 gigs of VRAM requirement just for textures alone. So whatever we see right here, with all the anti-aliasing going on, I can't speak today, the GPU is actually doing this on the fly. It's just going with every single calculation as it goes, and it's not that bad. There's something in the background just loaded in. And yeah, this is not easy for a GPU. Even if we had like 6 gigs, that would improve things quite a lot, because I would say we're almost 3 gigs over requirements. So we're swapping out extra 3 gigs, probably from RAM or maybe even from hard drive. I have no idea. I didn't see that my RAM usage would go up playing this game. It doesn't matter which setting I use, so this game works in mysterious ways. Also, yeah, I was trying actually the new driver the Nvidia released, the 451, and I must say it was kind of giving a little bit of performance boost, and not much, not really that noticeable. But as I said, it started to crash Ghost Recon Wildlands, so I had to revert back to the 441, 446 I believe. Yeah, 446. Just for the sake of doing the benches on the Ghost Recon Wildland. And that's about it. Okay, so we got 32 frames. So before that we were above like 40ish. So that is fine. Just for the naysayers, we're still rocking the same config. So CPU is i7-26, 16 gigs of DDR3 RAM, 1600 MHz, GPU 980, not a TI, not an overclocked one, just a regular 980 G1 gigabyte one, and that's it. And of course not the newest driver. But again, I'm gonna repeat again, this is the reason I'm doing this, is just to show that there was something else was going on. Maybe on the time of benchmarking I hit a memory leak on that particular fragment place where I was, well, basically recording the gameplay. I have no idea. I don't know, but I was really surprised about the 9 and 11 and 8 frames per second on both of those, and I was not sure what's going on, but I was like, hey, this game has got some updates ever since it was released, right? So maybe something just, doesn't support my GPU anymore. Maybe it's not good enough. Fair point, but still, it goes. Well, it does take a bit longer to load. Okay, so here we are. So we're dipping a bit below 30. So looking at ground, of course, improved our frames quite a lot. But of course I can't play this game looking at the ground, so let's go find some trouble, which is not hard at all, especially in this game. So as you can see, we're kind of like on 30 frames. So I don't have my vertical sync on, nothing like that. We're just doing what we're doing. Just running around being happy here. And I do believe we should have some enemies coming to us pretty... Ooh, what is this? That was a very interesting glitch I've never had before when you take out the scope. Maybe it was like the animation of it trying to take it off from its shoulder, which might happen. I'm not saying it can't happen. Of course it can. What? Where? By who? Wait, why am I hiding? Let's go wreck some guys up. Oh, it's that thingy. And it spotted me. Great. Great, not great. I'm not in the mood to fight with wolves, sorry. Sorry, I am not. And we have these assholes out of... The assholes of drones. The shooty ones. Well, kind of all of them are shooting, but these are specifically nasty. Okay, so that was kind of on me. That wasn't the game glitching. This was just me being stupid. Okay, so here was the frame drip. We're still kind of like within 25th. The game looks amazing. I can't say, you know, it runs as well as before. Of course, there is a little bit of stuttering I can feel while moving the mouse while driving. But at the same time, as I said, we're still running this not on 8 frames, right? I do believe that... also, yeah, one big point, I'm not running this on Vulkan API, okay? So, I believe that was... that might actually change a lot of things. First of all, I'm not running the Vulkan API, I'm running the usual exe file. Because for the Vulkan, that would be cheating, okay? There are a lot of games who support Vulkan API and there are basically games who don't. So for me to test it out with the Vulkan API and it would work for me and not work for someone else, that would be considered cheating in the highest level. So I just don't want to do that. But the point is, again, of this video, stuff works rather well, even on this. So the previous bench results were a bit inaccurate, and I just thought that maybe I'm just gonna let you guys know about it. If you have your thoughts about this, leave a comment, send an email, do whatever you want to do. Don't do anything, honestly. And yeah, that's pretty much all there is. So thanks for watching, and we learned something new. Have a good one.